Hey everybody, welcome to It's More Than a Font Brand Strategy Challenge. I'm really excited that you decided to spend your week with me, and I really can't wait to get started. So this is day one. This is the overall strategy masterclass. And in this, we're going to talk through each part of the challenge and what it entails and why it's important. Because really, you cannot make your brand more strategic if you don't understand how each part fits into the whole. So once we go through this and you get your homework, then you will get it and you'll be able to do each day's work of the challenge with confidence, knowing where you're going and how it's going to change your business. So I can't wait, and let's get started.
All right, this is it, y'all. It's more than a font. This is your 1 week to build your action plan for a strategically positioned brand. So we're going to walk through the whys and hows of what you'll be doing each day of this challenge. And we're going to break down one element of your brand strategy each day this week. So it's going to take some thought. It's going to take a little bit of homework. But with a bite-sized chunk each day, it's very doable. And by the end of the week, you're going to have a crystal clear view of where your brand needs to go. So let's get started. Okay. So first things first, we're going to back it up for just a second. There are a lot of new faces around here this week. So if you are one of those, just want to say hi, I'm Katie. I've been brand building and designing for small businesses for about 12 years now, which saying that out loud makes me feel a little bit old. But hey, that's all right. We're all friends here. So I just want to say I hope you will reach out to me this week. If you have any questions, you just want to say hello, you want to ask anything, feel free. You can always find me at katie@popandgray.com. So I am usually in one of two places. Most of the time, I am right here in front of my computer. And if not, I am probably off somewhere chasing my two crazy children because yeah, that's a lot of my day. So nice to meet you, and let's get started. Okay, so why does your brand need a strategy at all? So I've learned through experience with my clients that go through the brand development process that the typical timeline to starting your business is in the beginning, you have just a ton of startup expenses and you're excited and you just want to launch and you just want to get this stuff out to the world because you know that once you get it out, it's going to do so well. So typically in the beginning, you're not starting with this really in-depth strategy. And that's not to say that everyone starts that way because some people do start with a strategy. But what I realized is that even the people that do, once they really get into the running of the business and they start selling more and they start encountering issues with their customers and whatnot, they realize that their strategy really needs to adjust and grow with them. It's not something you can do one time before you start your business and then you're just done forever. So the mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they're just trying to sell to everyone because obviously you want everyone to love you. You want to make as much money as possible. This is a business. And you think that because the quality of your product or service is great, that it's going to sell itself. But the truth is, almost nothing sells itself. And selling to everyone just doesn't work. And it's hard. And it's time consuming. And it just leaves you feeling really burnt out. Save your energy, your time, and your money that you would spend trying to appeal to everyone and just focus on a core group of people. Because when you do that, you're going to engage with these people, you're going to build this trust and connection, and they are going to become loyal followers of your brand. And that is what you're after. You want this core loyal group that loves what you offer, loves interacting with you, and will shout your name from the rooftops rather than a much larger group that kind of feels like they could take it or leave it. They may buy from you, but then they also may leave you when your competitor runs a sale. So when you have a strategy and you're focusing on the right audience, you're not competing so hard on price. It's less about the price and more about the connection. And you can spend less time marketing, which who wouldn't want to spend less time marketing? I mean, come on, none of us love that. And less time building visuals, which I know for a lot of people that is a struggle and that is time consuming. And that's just something they don't, that's not why you went into business, and that's not what they want to be doing all the time. So when you have a strategic brand, you know what your look is, you know how to stay consistent, you have a library of elements that you can pull from, and you're not constantly recreating the wheel. All right, so now you know why you're doing it. So then we're going to start actually planning out your brand strategy. These are the 5 days of the challenge. This is what we're going to cover each day. Today is day 1. So day 1 is current audience. So at the end of this video, you're going to be able to download your worksheet for today. And it's going to walk you through really analyzing your current audience and deciding, is this who I should be focusing on? Or is my current audience my problem? And oftentimes, that is the problem. It's that the people that you are focusing on are not necessarily the ones that really value what you're doing. So that's what we're going to talk through today. Then tomorrow is going to be about the ideal audience. So you're going to work through, what is it about your current audience that isn't exactly connecting? And then you're going to figure out who that audience is that would really connect with you. And then day 3 is all about your brand values and the overlap. And the overlap is how your values overlap with your audience's values and how you can leverage that, because that's very important. The people buying from you want to know that you think similarly to them. And whatever it is you're providing to your audience makes them feel like you do. Day 4 is all about your brand story and your positioning. So that's really like what differentiates you in your particular market, how you're going to be set apart, and the elements of your story. We're going to look at, your beginning, middle, and end, and what part of your story really connects with your audience. Everyone has a story to tell, and yours should weave into what you do and really kind of explain to people why they should be connecting with you. And then day 5 is all about your voice and personality. And that is just a really huge area where it's not always about what you're saying, it's about how you're saying it. And so you want to make sure that the way you write, the way you speak, the way you post on social media, all of that fits together with the look of your brand, with the values of your brand, with the particular audience that you're appealing to make sure that it is all consistent. All right, so on day 1 of this challenge is when we evaluate your current audience. So this isn't necessarily the audience that you are going after, it's the audience that you have today. It's who is actually buying what you are selling. So we're going to look at why these people are coming to you, and are they happy with what you're giving them? Because they might be. So we need to figure out, if they are you happy with that transaction? So there's going to be a lot of questions based around that. And then a really good way to evaluate your current audience is to look at the referrals that you're getting. So when you're getting in new people who have been referred by other people who have bought from you, what is it that those people are communicating to your new people? And that will tell you what they valued about that experience. Are they talking about how cheap you were? Are they talking about how fast you worked? Or are they talking about the quality of your product? What is it that they're telling people? And whatever that thing is that what you want to be known for? So that's kind of what you have to decide. And then based on all of that information, the big decision that you're going to have to make is, am I already speaking to the right audience, but maybe I'm just not communicating in the right way and I'm not nurturing that relationship? Or you may discover that that audience is just not the right audience. So you're going to go into day one and you're going to go in one of two directions. On day two, we're going to compare our current audience to our ideal audience. So if you happened to determine on day one that your current audience already is your ideal audience, then you're still going to go through this same exercise. But what you're going to be doing is working harder to define those people a little bit better so that you can make those better connections. Otherwise, you're going to look at the differences, and we're going to make a big broad list and a smaller pinpointed list, both describing these people. So you're really going to know a lot more details than you probably do right now, which will help you as you go along. It'll help you better market to them. It'll help you better connect with them. So you have to think about, as a business owner, you're really in the business of solving problems. You have to figure out what the problem is that you can solve for them and how you're tangibly going to make their lives better. And then to get deeper into that, what fears do they have surrounding all of this that you can help alleviate? So anything you can do that makes people feel good and brings that emotion into it is going to make you sell more. And then after you figure out all of that, you're going to determine where these people are, and then you're going to figure out how you can be there and what you can do to make yourself stand out. Day 3 is all about defining your brand values. And your brand values are huge when coming up with the positioning of your brand. This is your essence. This is what your core beliefs are. These are your personal values, because your personal values are really tied up with how you run your business. And so this is really what guides the decision making in your business, and this is what will outwardly show as how people perceive you. So you need to figure out what those values are and how they make you unique within the market, and make sure that the goals that you're setting within your business align with those values. The sweet spot is where your brand values overlap with the values of your audience. And that's really where the true connection is going to start. And that's where they're going to start to take the time to really get to know your business. And you can just continue to build from there. Day 4 is your brand story or your positioning. So your story, everyone knows what a story is, but your story is what makes you unique. And you have to think about it in stages. Every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But when we think about brand stories, it's more like you could think of it as a problem, a solution, and then a success, and sort of write it in those 3 stages. And then you need to think through what the specific details and elements of your story are that resonate most with your audience, because that's where those meaningful connections are going to be. So you don't need to come up with this long, drawn out story that's going to bore people. You need to figure out where the important pieces are that they really need to know. And then, make it relate to them. So once you know what pieces of your story relate best to your audience, you can incorporate those pieces in meaningful ways throughout your social media, throughout your visuals, and throughout any sort of content that you create. Day 5, we'll be talking about your brand personality or your voice. So this is really where we go into the outward perception of your brand. The last 4 days, a lot of that is a lot of the inner workings, and that all affects the outer workings, but this is really what people see. And this is a huge part of how people perceive your business. So your personality and your voice have to be very consistent with the look of your brand. So this, paired with your visual identity, is what will really make up the whole face of your brand. One of the first things you're going to do is build your brand vocabulary, which is based on knowing your audience, listening to them and connecting with them, and using a lot of the same words that they use. And also using words that they would understand and that they don't have to wonder what they mean, and words that make them feel a certain way. Different words affect different people in all kinds of ways, so you need to find the right ones. And then you use them very consistently and over again so that it becomes a recognizable part of your brand. So are you starting to see how all of this is connecting? If you know your audience, you know their struggles, which means you know what they need to feel, which means you know how to talk to them. So it's all about being consistent and bringing all of this stuff together. So that's what we're going to cover in the 5 days. And each day is going to have a worksheet for you to do, so you need to try to get that done before the next day so that you're not always playing catch up, because each day builds on the next. And at the end of the week, you'll be able to put all of those worksheets together and really see what areas your brand needs to work on so that you have this action plan. And you can make sure that everything in your strategy is consistent with your visuals and is creating this perception that you want people to see.